Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the CineFiles Extended Cut, the show where we break down the biggest stories of the week as covered in the original CineFiles, and some other stories that didn't quite make the cut. So if you like this, please subscribe to Mojo Talks for more awesome content.
Awesome content.
I'm your host, Matt, and we have our panel here. We got Justin, Phoebe, and Liam. Guys, what is up? How's it going?
Good?
Good.
Justin's got a laptop today.
I got a laptop.
This is new.
We're doing new things.
Backed by popular demand.
The laptop?
The laptop.
Whose demand?
Every
It's a
week
new
we're like,
it's
I
a
wish
new-
we had a laptop. So I was like,
Oh, our popular demand.
yes.
It's a new character.
Yeah.
I think we think you're gonna like him a lot.
We'll come up with a name by next
Yeah.
episode for this laptop.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Nameless protagonist.
Surface. It's got a surface.
No, we
on
can't
it.
say that. We
That's
can't. I
branded.
should actually do
Whoops.
this instead. There
Yeah,
we go.
There you go.
Not sponsored.
Yeah.
But
Manny,
we
you can
could
beat
be.
that.
we'll fix it in post.
There you
This
go.
is live?
Yeah.
Oh, we're done for it. All right, so let's talk about what we've been watching on the big screen or at home. I know a couple of you guys went to the movie theater. Was
couple
it
of us,
yesterday?
yeah.
Couple of
Yeah.
Thanks for
Couple
the
of-
invite, right,
Oh,
Phoebe?
sorry.
You're welcome.
I
Oh,
I don't
Phoebe
think
was
Phoebe
invited.
I wouldn't. I
don't
was
think
invited.
Phoebe
I
would've
just
came.
didn't want to go.
Oh,
I think I was invited.
see how
I think it might have
is.
got lost in the
Yeah.
Gmail shuffle, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to go see Hereditary, Liam and I.
Otherwise known as Harry Terry, as we've been calling it.
Harry Terry.
Harry.
And it's
It is terrifying.
spooky movie.
I think you didn't think it was as scary as I did.
It's just because of the hype, I think. A lot of people were like, I couldn't even go into a dark room after this movie.
It
was
definitely
fine.
affected my post-movie watching experience.
Only so much.
Wow.
I was thinking about it quite a lot. It's very disturbing. It's got a lot of cool twists and turns along the way.
Yeah.
The marketing is a bit deceptive.
But also great because it doesn't
Yes.
spoil anything.
yeah.
Liam, did you have trouble falling asleep after you saw it? Is
I
that
was
what you-
definitely checking my corners,
Really?
the corners
Oh
of my
my
room a lot.
God.
It's been a while since that's like as we get older, we don't necessarily have
That
that,
happens to
feeling
me like
anymore.
every night. I'm afraid.
don't
I'm
even-
always
you
I don't
afraid.
even have to watch a
watch it.
movie. Actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this movie is full of that stuff.
I really
Check
like
your
Oh.
corners.
People have been talking a lot about how the movie doesn't use jump scares. And the way that it gets its scares is by having things in the frame that you don't see right away. And the way that it's lit, it kind of takes you a second to be like, oh, that's terrifying.
Crazy.
It's
Yeah.
also a fun movie to discuss afterwards
Yeah.
because the people that we saw with, you saw some stuff that I didn't see. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, that's even more terrifying. The fact that now that I know that it's there and I
Yeah.
didn't see it, it's scary because it's that unknown,
Yeah,
Okay.
it definitely
Um,
warrants a rewatch. I
yeah,
think
for
just
sure.
because
I'm
I'm
think I
gonna
might-
be out looking for. There's stuff that shows up at the end in terms of images and symbols and stuff.
Yeah.
That, I wish I had been checking for at the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great performances too. Tony
Yeah.
Collette is amazing.
Tony Collette is
always.
superb. Yeah.
And Dowd is just
And out amazing.
incredible.
I
Yeah.
keep forgetting she is in that.
Yeah, she actually has a bigger role than I thought she would.
That's awesome.
She's
'Cause she's
putting
phenomenal.
on a tour de force, man. She's so crazy
Yeah.
in this. Not even in a classically crazy way, but she's just doing so much with
Yeah.
that character. I
Yeah.
really, really liked her performance. in
She's
this.
pretty funny too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
That's
She's,
surprisingly funny moments in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of laughs.
Really?
Yeah.
My God.
A lot of nervous laughs
Yes,
from our audience.
a lot of
I don't know if it was
nervous laughter.
just because it was an odd movie.
It is very
I know,
strange.
especially the end, people were laughing because I think it
Is
was
it
they
like-
maybe weren't ready for it getting experimental.
Are
Maybe.
those scenes kind of like family humor kind of thing? Like maybe the more relatable parts of
It's
the
like
movie? or-
very dark humor, like
Oh,
very
really?
very dark
Okay.
humor. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
This
Phoebe.
conversation is
highly
giving me
recommend
anxiety.
it.
Watch
so
it.
let's we'll talk about Phoebe's movie if she's getting super anxious here.
I watched
think
an
it's
equally terrifying movie.
Really?
It's called Cinderella Man.
wow.
what scared you about
Terrifying
this
because
one?
the Great Depression is a terrible time
Yeah.
Wow.
in history.
Good turn.
That was pretty terrifying. But it's a good movie. I had I had not seen it until yesterday. I didn't know that it was directed by Ron Howard. It's definitely slow
Yep.
to start. There was an hour of his story and then an hour of the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fighting and everything, which I thought was really cool. That I really like movies about, people coming up from nothing and becoming these amazing athletes.
Right.
There's another movie that I like called The Fighter. I don't know
Oh,
if you guys
that's a
know
good
it.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Great
phenomenal.
movie. I
Yeah.
feel like The Fighter borrows a lot from Cinderella Man.
Really?
In terms of like not only like the aesthetic of it, but like, you know, a lot of like the cinematography and stuff. It was giving me like total fighter vibes.
Okay.
So I liked it because I like both of those movies.
Yeah.
I remember Paul Giamatti's in that movie, right?
Yeah.
He's so good in that.
He's so good.
remember as a
He's
kid
just
being
like
this guy's
such
amazing.
a weird sort of person who's underrated. I feel like he always puts out really good performances and he transforms a lot. You know, like he's sort of gets like that physical transformation and he's just like a chameleon.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what I
for
like
sure.
about him. And I don't think about him when I think of like actors that I like, but I know that he's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where would this rank in your top 5, or let's say, top 5 of boxing movies? Is it better than Raging Bull? I'd say no.
I don't think so.
I'm
no.
gonna go ahead and
I
say
liked
no.
it, but I mean, like I
Pantheon
said,
of
there
classic
were
boxing
things that I thought were like a little bit problematic about it. Like I thought
Right.
that it was quite long. It's cool that it's based on a true story. That's always
Yeah.
fun. It was like 2.5 hours. Like that's long. I
Damn.
think maybe I just have
2.5
a short
hour
attention
long
span.
Ron Howard movie. Ooh, boy.
What made you want to just watch Cinderella Man
I
in
have no
2018?
idea. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's
it was
true.
just like we were browsing through and we were like, let's watch this, and it was good. I actually like Russell Crowe. I thought I didn't.
We were talking
But
about
I
this
do,
before,
yeah. I think because I was exposed to him in Les Miserables, being
Oh.
really, really bad. Like, I
Yeah.
am Javert.
Hot take, I like him in that movie.
Oh my God,
Oh,
move
Liam.
move on.
I mean, like he's
Liam.
great in
Better
Nice
than
Guys.
Eddie Redmayne.
He's great in The Nice
Eddie
Guys.
Redmayne,
As the
he
frog
rubs me
voice
the
in that
wrong
movie.
way. Anyway,
Yeah.
Anyways, that's cool. Boxing movie.
What
Nice,
did you
nice.
What did you partake
Well,
in on the small screen? or
Like
big screen?
it was a small screen, well, big TV in my place. So not to brag
Wow.
or anything. No, it's a
Jesus.
normal size TV. But I was browsing like Phoebe, and then I came across on the movie network Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
man.
And I was like, okay, I have to watch this.
Infinitely
so I revisited.
rewatchable.
It's so fun.
Great movie.
I love
is
how
a very
geeky it is.
rewatchable movie.
The evil X's are all hilarious. They're all great characters, and what else is there to say about it? It's phenomenal.
This
it's so
week-
funny.
It was what's his name? Chris Evans' birthday,
Oh yeah, I saw that.
and Edgar Wright tweeted out the fake posters
Yeah.
from all the movies that his character and Scott Pilgrim are in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I saw that.
awesome.
It was
So
so
funny.
Yeah.
It was
So funny.
It was interesting. I looked at those posters for like a long time because I wanted to see if there's anything like hidden in the credits or whatever.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything.
That's
my-
Thanks for
that's my
pointing that
interesting
out.
So funny. It's called a grind, bro. And then he like dies the most horrible death after grinding at like 500 miles an hour. Just
I
so
love how everyone
ridiculous.
just explodes into Canadian currency
Yeah.
when they die in that
It's
movie.
so
Yes,
weird
it's
that
so
the movie
funny.
takes place in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many people in that movie before they were huge. Like
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza,
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick's in it.
Yeah.
Isn't
Chris
Brie
Evans is
Larson in
before.
it too?
Yeah.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson.
Yeah.
Oh, she is
Amazing.
awesome in that
Yeah,
movie.
the-
Just her
the
voice she
song,
puts on.
Black
yeah.
Sheep,
Yeah.
it's way better than the metric version.
That might be my favorite segment. Like the movie is very much like because they took a comic book series that
Yeah.
was like very long and just
Yeah.
went, this is one movie. So like it has this like episodic feel to it. And I think of all the segments, my favorite is when they confront the band and the vegan.
Oh,
yeah, that's great.
just so much
The
fun.
vegan police is
Milk and
like
eggs,
so
bitch.
funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. At
Oh,
first, you were a vegan, but now you will be gone.
The whole
It's just
thing
like,
with
it's
the whole thing where he's
rhyming so
talking about
terrible.
like you'll be dust by Monday. Like
Yeah.
the cleaning
Yeah.
lady will have to deal with you because they have weekends off. So good.
So good.
Incredible stuff.
So I was really happy to see that on TV. So I gave it a watch and went down memory lane for a little bit. It was fun. So that was What You Watching. We're about to get into the, as we've called it in the past, the meat and potatoes of the show, the 3 biggest stories of the week, and we're going to get to that real soon. So last week, a ton of new trailers came out. This week, a new one as well came out, and it was of The Nun, the latest installment in the... Why are you laughing? You're just like,
Phoebe's already
nuns aren't
scared.
I'm
scary.
thinking about how we roasted it, and I said that it looked really funny, but it was because I was trying to like make myself feel better because it was scary. Like it looks scary.
Phoebe's referring to the group chat we had.
Yeah.
And I sent the link and I was like, this looks terrifying and awesome. And then these guys just proceeded to roast it.
It was
Did
to
you roast it?
protect
I don't think it was
myself.
that bad. No.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I don't think they were
wish-
serious. You're just kind of like joking. But then
Yeah.
I was like, you're
It
ruining
made me
the
feel
scares
better.
for
I
me,
think
guys.
the funny
Yeah.
part for me was when she like, there's like that fake out at the end of the trailer where she like turns around and she's like, hello, and then like somebody comes out and just like pushes her, but like not that
You
hard.
laughed at that
Yeah,
point?
it was just like kind of funny. Like,
You're telling me you didn't jump out of your seat when that
I
happened?
because you
I
guys
jumped
told
pretty
me
heavy.
the exact timestamp when it was going to
Oh,
happen
yeah,
because I
it's
can't
true.
handle that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I
it
jumped.
looked
Yeah,
scary.
sure.
I jumped, but like after seeing, I'm gonna talk about Hereditary so much because it's so good. But I've seen Hereditary, like those kinds of jump scares, I think should be fizzled out. Because I don't know, I think the shot of like the nun right behind her is terrifying, and then it kind of gets broken by that like.
You think so?
I don't know.
Like fake out almost. Yeah.
Kind of ends on like a little bit of a cliche, like.
You have a theory on how that scene plays out though, and that would make sense.
Was that my theory? I don't know.
Yeah, there in our group chat. Liam, well, if you haven't seen the trailer, we're going to spoil the trailer for you at the end.
It's spoilers.
It's very funny,
long.
too. At the beginning of the trailer, it says, make sure to watch all the way to the end, because they want to make sure everyone sees this jump scare. So this nice nun is walking down this dark hallway, and she hears the creepiest like whispers behind her. And then she finally looks back, and there's like this terrifying nun behind her. You can't see her face because it's all blacked out. And she's about to talk to her, like say hello, but then this other figure comes out from like the side hallway, basically tackles her out of the way. So that's like the big jump scare.
My theory is that they were playing touch football.
That's a good theory.
She was in the way, and they were like, "Get out the way."
That's when I got mad. Is
the sequel to Tag?
Yes,
the new Tag.
yes, it's the sequel.
We're actually going to talk about Tag just a little bit later.
Interesting.
But yeah, when you brought that up, I was like, guys, I was so stoked on this, and it was so scary. And now
no, it does look like it's got that
scary,
like gothic like look
Yeah.
to it, where it's. I don't know. It's very period PC.
Yeah.
You know, I'm interested for sure, and I like both the Conjuring movies.
Yeah.
They're both great.
It's cool because that universe just keeps growing. Like I
Yeah,
know that
totally.
you guys are big fans of that, and I could see why. Like it just seems like a really fun ride.
It's a cool
you know?
idea to
Yeah.
have like, you know, a movie that has so many different monsters in it. I guess monsters is the wrong word, but then to just be like, and here is.
Yeah.
We talk a lot of
Backstory,
crap
yeah.
about like prequel movies and stuff like that, but I think that's a cool idea to just
Yeah,
like
for sure.
use those elements and isolate them. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
like telling the origins of these investigations.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're doing.
I
That's a cool
find
idea.
Cool.
the ideas they decide to work on for the universe are like super spot on. They make sense. It doesn't seem forced. Sometimes the execution for some of them isn't really well done. Like Annabelle was scary, but it wasn't a very good movie. The jury's out on whether this will be a good movie or not, but I thought the trailer was really good. Just for a little background on this universe, if you will, it'll be the 5th installment of the Conjuring universe, and it's going to act as a prequel to both Annabelle and the Conjuring.
Oh,
it's
so Annabelle's
basically-
going to make an appearance or no?
I don't think Annabelle's going to make an appearance, but it's just basically kind of like where the evil all started kind of thing. Because the main baddie in The Nun is the demon named Valak, who appeared in The Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
That's basically, they had no intention of making a nun movie, but based on the reaction from The Conjuring 2, everyone was like, oh, this nun is terrifying. She's so scary. And they're like, oh, let's make a movie about it.
so it's the Captain America, the first Avenger of the
Yeah.
Conjuring universe.
Yeah.
Take it back to
There's
the
going to
past.
be a post-credit sequence of
Nick Fury's gonna
Nick
show up?
Fury, or no, it's going to be I don't know, what's her name, Vera Farmiga, showing up and being like, we need to recruit you for the museum that we're building.
Speaking of
Conjuring
Vera,
initiative.
speaking of Vera Farmiga, it's interesting
I
because
didn't even think about that.
yeah, the main character in this one is I don't think she's actually a nun, but she's like in training to be a nun. She's a novitiate. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I'd
Like
never
she's
heard that
just
word
about
before.
to take. Yeah, me neither. But the religious people who are listening will know what I'm talking about.
God bless.
But yeah, she's about to take her vows, and then she goes to this castle to like figure out what evil's happening. But this character is Vera Farmiga's sister.
In real life.
Not in real life. Yeah, in real life, I
life.
should say. Taysa Farmiga. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
She's very, like, Vera's what, 40, 42, 43, something
she's
like
in her
that.
40s.
And Taysa's like 22 or 23.
I was really shocked
She's
when I
quite
found
young,
out they were
yeah.
sisters.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I was also wondering, like, I went to the Wikipedia and I was like, oh, are they like related within the universe too? That would just be like super crazy
Maybe.
if they're connected
I mean,
somehow.
like, I don't know why
But,
they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, why would is it just a coincidence that they're casted in the same universe? I don't know.
I don't know.
Weird.
Remains to be
Yeah,
seen.
I guess we'll see.
But
and
she's done like American Horror Story, right? So she
Yes.
has like that horror background. So
yeah,
she's got the chops for it.
her chops.
Yeah. So let's move on to the second story. Remember way back when Disney was purchasing Fox?
I
Yes.
do, yes.
And
think I
everyone was
recall.
freaking out. They're like, "Oh, this is huge. Disney's gonna literally own every single movie property, every IP imaginable."
Yeah.
Well, that might not be happening because Comcast. Well, I should say this. Apparently, the deal was never like signed and like official. It was in the works to be done.
Yeah.
But It's not official, and Comcast knew this, so they saw Disney's $54.2 billion all-stock deal, and they're like, oh, all stock? We got you here. So they raised them $65 billion in all cash.
Oh my God.
In cash? What
In
does that even
cash.
look like?
Probably
This
like
whole room
100,000
filled with money.
briefcases.
Yeah, exactly.
This
If we
whole
go
room-
by movie logic,
Yeah.
it's a million briefcases.
Yeah. So, I mean, Disney might not own Fox. And I think some people are going to be freaking out. They're like, oh no, we thought that maybe the X-Men would eventually join this
don't-
whole MCU
that's-
thing. So, I mean, that's in danger. What do we think of this whole
think it's-
transaction?
I think it's still scary. No?
Yeah, it is scary. Well,
Just
the
big-
whole thing is predicated on the fact that AT&T and Time Warner's merger was just approved
Yeah.
by a judge. So basically, Comcast was waiting for that to settle to create a precedent for them to go in and make
Yes.
this acquisition. Because before that,
That's important.
they would have to also have gone to court and had to defend their right, basically, to buy Disney because they have monopoly laws in that country, and they take a lot of care in making sure that you can't just like do basically what people are afraid Disney's going to do and buy everything and just become your industry.
Yeah.
So that's important to note. The other thing is that I think that when it comes to these big tech and like telecommunications companies coming in and buying like content producers, it worries me a little bit more than just like Disney coming in,
For sure.
because they have their own interests outside of just like creating,
Like
Exactly.
entertainment.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's an irrational fear, but at the same time, there are a reason that these laws exist to prevent these big mergers from happening.
I just think from a distance, like all these big companies buying other companies is so like such a toxic thing.
Well, you
for
look at the
everyone.
amount of money that's being tossed
I know,
around.
it's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the whole Disney people wanting Disney to buy Fox is insane to me. Like I just don't see any positives in that.
Here's a positive: the X-Men.
Oh, it's not a positive.
Man.
It's a positive to a
The
lot of
X-Men
people.
movies exist and the Avengers movies exist. It's
They
fine.
could
Like
be
it's
like they could do this.
Exactly.
I would love to see that. As a
So I
comic
get-
book fan, I would love to see that. As a person in the world who like
Person in the
who
world.
knows that these things have consequences, I'm like, maybe the X-Men in the MCU isn't worth like the conglomerization of media brands.
Yeah.
But hey, it's
Yeah.
happening anyways. So I don't know. This is a complicated subject.
Oh, for sure.
And I think it's like kind of the fact that a lot of the discussion online has been, oh no, but what about the Fantastic Four? Kind of missing.
It does miss the point.
exactly. It's much bigger than that.
I think it's really telling that even without this, like if Comcast were to buy Fox, or I guess the 20th Century Fox,
21st century.
21st Century Fox, Disney is still a powerhouse. Like they still pretty
Oh,
much
they
own
don't
it.
need it.
It's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's like it's so telling that like Disney doesn't need it and they're still the biggest.
And it's almost, it's funny, I was talking to our buddy Jem about this story. Shout outs to Jem. But back in 2004, Comcast actually tried to buy Disney.
Oh my goodness.
And Disney looked at their offer and they're kind of like, haha, this is way too low. There's no way we're selling for this. So there's like bad blood between the two companies already.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I want to see a fight.
Yeah.
The,
so there's all, I want to.
Sure.
Yeah. So apparently in the contract, Comcast is offering Fox. There's also like a little clause that says, oh, if the government blocks it, for the reasons you mentioned before, you guys still get $2.5 billion.
Wait, what?
That's pretty enticing. Of an
So
offer.
even if it doesn't go through, Fox would get that money. And it's like, one, it's a win for Comcast if the deal does go through. But even if it doesn't, it's kind of like, oh, can we just give up $2.5 billion to screw Disney over? Yeah, let's kind of do it. So it's like you're not
wow.
giving
Like
Disney those
assuring-
properties, and is like, oh, maybe if we lose $2.5 billion, at least they don't make like X amounts
Yeah.
of billions, you know? So it's kind of like, it's a little theory, but it's also interesting to think about, kind of like.
So two things. One is I would expect Disney to come back with an even more enticing offer. Just given what we know about the situation,
Yeah.
they're gonna come back and say, well, now here's X amount guaranteed,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
up front, like even if you don't look at the deal, like here's some money, like just
Yeah.
take some money. The other thing to keep in mind is that in this game of these huge companies getting into the content game,
Yeah.
Apple has announced their desire to join that conversation.
Oh
Wait.
my God.
Buying Disney?
No, not buying Disney, but like
Imagine. Oh my goodness.
they have expressed like they've invested a lot of money. They've
buying Disney,
acquired Sony executives to run their content. They made a deal with like Jennifer Aniston and they made a bunch of these deals.
Yeah.
I think that it's not unlikely to see Apple maybe join the mix at some point in the Fox acquisition. Maybe that's crazy, but it just seems like if they're looking to join the content game rather than start completely from scratch, they see this huge studio that just
Which
everyone's
would
on
be-
the feeding block for. It's like a crazy stock. Like everyone's yelling at each other with money in their hands. I mean, why not join in and see how much money
It
you
would
can
be
throw at it?
interesting though, because it did seem like that was their game plan, was just to like do it all themselves, kind of, because they have the resources to do it.
They have
They're
Sony
hiring
execs
good people.
running the game right now.
They have ex
I don't know
Sony
if that's the best idea.
execs coming over to run their content because like expect a Apple streaming service in the near future. Expect them to become a Amazon or a Netflix.
I think it's
buying Fox would be a fast pass. To use
That's
a
it.
Disney term.
Yeah.
that's wow, deep cut.
There you go.
Have you been to Disney recently or?
No, I have not. Just
Yeah,
on the brain.
I am not. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney comes back with like a bigger offer because I think Disney would love this.
They see the value in it, and I think it's hard not to. It's a
They
huge,
own half of
huge
Marvel
studio.
already.
Yeah.
They're just missing the other half.
So we might see that 54.2 billion all stock deal turn into like a percentage of cash or something, because all cash is pretty enticing. I will say that much. Okay, so this was the big story of the week. So Patty Jenkins, director of Wonder Woman, recently took to Twitter, announced not only the title of the Wonder Woman sequel, which is Wonder Woman 1984, but she also included a few stills, and one of them was of our friend Chris Pine in the role of Steve Trevor.
My very personal friend.
Yeah. Steve, what's up? Hope you're listening, buddy. But yeah,
Steve, his name is Chris.
In the movie.
in the movie, yeah. He knows
I don't think the character Steve Trevor is gonna be listening.
Oh, that's what I meant. That I'm personal friends with Steve Trevor.
Okay, good.
He knows what I'm talking about. So moving on, yes. Patty Jenkins posted a picture on Twitter, and it was of the character Steve Trevor in 80s clothes in a mall or something. And obviously the internet freaked out. They're like, wait a minute, what? He's alive? And I mean, the picture would lead us to believe so. And even with Patty Jenkins' caption saying, "Welcome to Wonder Woman 1984, Steve Trevor!" exclamation point. So I mean, we're all supposed to think that he's alive.
Justin, you had a theory,
yes.
Get into
or
it.
you read a theory about this.
So there's been a bunch of mumblings online
Yeah.
about how Steve Trevor could potentially enter 1984.
Basically, don't get your hopes up, guys, or keep them in check at least.
Keep them in check.
Yeah.
So there's a theory that was floated a while ago, and it was way before Steve Trevor was even like mentioned to be in the sequel. There were fans that were like, "Oh, it's too bad that they killed off his character because he was really good in the movie, and it would be
spoilers.
so cool to see him like in this franchise, a little bit more."
Yeah.
And people were saying, "Well, what if there was a character in the DC universe who could shapeshift that Steve Trevor could play?" And the prime candidate now is the Martian Manhunter.
Because there's multiple that can shapeshift, I guess.
Yes,
right?
there are. There's Clayface, who's a villain, which I don't think they're going to introduce Clayface because that's a weird villain for a movie.
Yeah.
The Martian Manhunter is a Martian. He is a big green guy, and to blend in on Earth, he often disguises himself as a regular human being named John Jones.
John Jones.
Yes.
So the problem with bringing Steve Trevor back, obviously, is that he exploded at the end of Wonder Woman. Spoiler alert.
Beautiful, beautiful sacrifice.
He exploded.
Loved that scene.
To save the world.
Yeah.
But
Quite emotional.
The other power that the Martian Manhunter has is to read minds. So the going theory is that Martian Manhunter will encounter Diana. He's a big green, weird guy. Diana goes, "You're weird and green." He reads her mind. "Let me take a form that's more comforting," and he assumes the form of Steve Trevor. That is like something that I've seen online.
So sad.
Yeah.
It's kind of a beautiful thought.
Yeah, I
in
think
a
that's
way.
really interesting.
That's
No,
cool.
it's not beautiful. It's creepy.
It's
No?
a bit
It's
creepy.
Yeah.
cool for a movie. I think that's like really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Yeah.
a really cool way to get him back because he's fantastic.
Chris
The
Pine
only
is good.
problem that I
He's
see with
amazing.
that is that, and I should have mentioned that on the Wonder Woman show, John Jones has been a character since the first season, and often he's been depicted as black.
Oh, you mean Supergirl?
Is that what did I say?
I think. Did you say Wonder Woman? Maybe you said
Wonder
Super.
Woman.
You said
Oh
Wonder
no,
Woman.
yeah, I meant the Supergirl TV show on the CW.
Yeah.
And he's often been depicted as black, so I could see them wanting to keep Steve Trevor in the mix, but at the same time, they might it might just be for one scene, or something like that. Sure. I don't know. It feels weird to me. The real story here is why would they show this picture? Unless it's to also set up a deception of some kind.
Because it's a huge plot point being revealed and like so early too, which is very interesting.
Well, it was the first thing we heard about it, right?
Yeah, basically.
Like they only announced yesterday that it was going to be called 1984, right?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I'm like super excited the fact that it's in the 80s. I feel like the 80s is so hot right now. You know, like we have like this huge 80s nostalgia, this generation, like, you know, shows like Stranger Things and like 80s music is making a comeback. Yeah. Weezer just covered Africa. That was so sick.
Yeah, that's a cool story behind that.
I feel like this is like, it's perfect for like the contemporary media landscape to do this 80s themed Wonder Woman film, which, you know, everybody's experiencing that nostalgia, and also Wonder Woman is amazing and I can't wait to see this film.
I think it's definitely like a way to get to distance itself from like being like the Captain America First Avenger. You know what I mean? Like
that's how I felt about the movie. I mean, I loved it for that reason. I was like, it's basically Captain America First Avenger, but gender swapped.
But it's World War I instead of World War II.
The weapons were more primitive.
Yeah, you were saying that yesterday, but I'm gonna disagree with you in a way because I think it's a little cliche for them to do the 80s just because everyone's doing the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's like super cool, and I
X-Men
obviously love the 80s.
Years ago.
I think it's a fun thing. It's like you give the people what they want.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, it's like it's so big right now. So like, why not?
Yeah,
it's like Bumblebee's doing the '80s thing, and
I think it's also the fact that they get to tell a story that doesn't have to like build on the mythology of the DCU.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they can be like it's before, so like all that stuff that people don't like, we don't even have to touch it. We just keep it, and they did that in the first movie, which is partly why people liked it, I think, is that it was separate. It was a standalone thing. And it seems like they're going to keep going in that direction, which I think is a smart move, but doesn't help the DCEU overall because the present timeline is still a freaking mess.
When I saw the picture, I was super stoked because, I mean, Wonder Woman was obviously my favorite character in the movie, but Steve Trevor was a very close second.
He was great.
Loved his character. Chris Pine, I think, is the best of the Chris.
I would agree with that.
Acting
in everything.
Prowess. Yeah. But when Justin first told me the theory, I got really upset. I was like, oh, that's so sad. I think it makes sense. And also, he would look a lot older. No? Because World War I is like, what, 1912 or 14 or something? And it's now 1980, so he'd be...
Well, no, if he's shape-shifting, could shape-shift into...
No, but if it's the actual... If it's the actual Steve Trevor.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Well, he's
makes
dead.
Sense.
He did. Yeah, we've come to that
twist
conclusion,
that he didn't actually die.
Spoiler alert.
I survived the massive explosion.
And I never aged.
At 100 feet in the air. Yeah.
Just without a scratch on him at all.
When I exploded, I actually entered an interdimensional portal.
I mean, it's comics. I wouldn't put it past them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have some pretty good theories. Ultimately, only Patty Jenkins knows what Steve Trevor's fate was or is going to be.
Or everyone else that's working on the movie.
There you go. This is true. Unless she's keeping it really close to her
Patty
chest.
Jenkins. 300 other people.
But we have a long wait to find out because the movie doesn't come out till, November 2019 or something like that. So it's a long wait.
Yep.
But we'll wait and see. So basically, those were the three biggest stories of the week. There are also stories that didn't make the cut on the original CineFiles, but we're going to talk about those too, so don't you worry. There's more news to come. Okay, so another trailer that dropped that didn't quite make the original top three was the new Dumbo trailer, directed by everyone's favorite, Tim Burton.
Whose favorite?
Your favorite?
He
actually
is one of my favorites.
Not mine.
Is he really?
In the 90s?
Yeah, not
Ed Wood?
now.
Yeah, but it's
With
also...
no way.
It's 2018.
Yeah, but I've been living in the 90s.
It's 2018.
Yeah, exactly.
Ed Wood? Watch Ed Wood and tell me that's not
but
the
what
greatest
year was
movie
Ed
ever
Wood?
made. 94?
Exactly.
Okay, but we're talking about now. Tim Burton now is on the fritz. You know, he's
No
not,
way.
He's not like the same as it used to be.
I agree. Tim Burton, I'm sorry if you're listening, Tim.
He's not.
You suck, man.
Whoa. I would
That's my...
What was his last best movie?
This is I want to...
Big Fish.
Big Fish?
Oh.
No, not Big Fish. Was it Big Eyes?
No,
That was not a good movie.
Miss Peregrine's Home for
don't know.
Peculiar
Also
Really
not a
good.
good movie.
No.
You said last good movie.
No.
Yeah, Big
Oh,
Eyes.
last good movie.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Big Fish.
Ooh, I dropped the F-bomb. See, this
Got
is how
one. You got
passionate
one.
I am. I got one.
Okay, I have something to say.
Yes, go.
Dumbo looks pretty good.
It does.
It actually looks really good. Michael Keaton is in it. We all know I love Michael Keaton.
Danny
Yes.
DeVito's in
Danny
it.
DeVito is in it.
Colin Farrell is
Colin
amazing
Farrell is in
also.
it.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
It looks great. My question is, why? Why Dumbo? Why now? You know what I mean? Like I
It's
felt
Disney pushing their live action
Especially
stuff.
before like Little Mermaid and before I guess Lion King and before
Well,
all
Lion
these.
King is coming, but yeah,
but
you're right.
the fact that Dumbo is before it is like
I think what I'm getting tired of is like doing old movies in live action. I feel like it's just recycling old ideas, and yes, they're good ideas. Like it's a great story or whatever, but it's not. We don't really need it. The movie itself looks really good. It's giving me vibes of Water for Elephants.
oh right.
That movie
really?
with Christoph Waltz and
Okay.
Christoph
Robert
Waltz?
Pattinson.
Isn't Robert Pattinson in the top build?
you're getting mad at
I was like,
her for
why?
ordering the
I just
actors.
pictured the poster and I'm like, Christoph Waltz isn't on the poster.
I've had enough of you.
I mean, he's
hating
in it,
Christoph
but-
Waltz, but anyway, it's giving me vibes of that movie, and I
Okay.
really liked that movie.
Yeah.
I like elephants, and that elephant is
Okay, well, you're
very
biased, so
cute.
let's stop.
I'm in
Very
for
cute.
movies about
you know
elephants.
What? You know what sold the ticket for me? Like I'm buying a ticket day one for
Danny
this movie.
DeVito's
Are
Top
you
Hat?
really?
I guess Danny Vito also, but I want to see what they do with the Pink Elephants scene. Tim Burton
man.
directing the Pink Elephants musical scene is going to be amazing.
Was Danny DeVito in
The
Water
original?
for
No.
Elephants? Am I
I could
crazy?
not tell you. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Justin's got a
I
laptop in
think he
front of him.
might have been. That would be cool. That
I'm-
I feel like I remember him in a circus movie.
I'm
maybe it's
afraid
Big
that-
Fish.
Oh, it's Big
Is he in
Fish.
Big Fish?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no,
I'm
he's
afraid
not
that
in this.
Tim
Sorry.
Burton would do too much with that scene. You know, like I'm probably not the best person to ask, but I'm not a fan of his style. I just feel like he's stuck in this goth emo phase and just like hasn't grown out of it. And it's a style that's obviously aged out. No one really cares for it anymore. If they did, he'd have a good hit movie in the past 10 years. And that's an iconic scene, you know? For me personally, that scene scared the living bejesus out of me when I was a kid. And I'm sure this scene will probably scare kids when it comes out. But I'm just afraid that the style is going to be too much. It's like style over substance.
I don't know, like those shots of the circus, like the dimly lit circus, were like classic Tim
Yeah.
Burton to me. Like
Really?
I'm
Yeah, they
into
were
that.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I thought it was very toned down for Tim Burton standards.
Really?
Yeah. But then again,
but
a
I
lot
mean,
of them
like-
are reserved to inside a tent, right?
Yeah.
So,
But also, like, I just think that's like Disney doing their live action remake thing. They all kind of look the same, which
Okay,
I'm kind of
yeah.
bummed about. But I'm
Yeah.
hoping that like he kind of puts a little twist on it. I don't know.
yeah.
When you were kids and you watched like older animated movies like Snow White or the older stuff,
Yeah.
did you ever notice that it was dated? Like compared to stuff like The Lion King that was coming out in the 90s. Did you notice like a disparity?
No,
between-
No, I remember when I found out that that The Little Mermaid came out in the 80s. I was
Right.
like, what? I was
Yeah.
like, this is like.
And even
I
that
thought it
one
was
was a more
before that. I
recent
thought
one.
like they managed to keep that style that like the 80s movies look like the 40s
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of part of the magic and why those movies hold up so well is
Yeah.
because they all kind of look
Yeah.
have a similar style and it's all hand-drawn animation, obviously, which holds up. I worry that in an attempt to bring all those movies to live action, they're actually going to be dating these movies a lot more.
For sure.
Because, like, I don't know if in 10 years from now, we're still going to be talking about, like, The Jungle Book as, like, this achievement in CGI.
That's
I
a
mean, obviously,
very
it's going to be a
good
benchmark.
point. Yeah.
But, like, if you're a kid watching The Jungle Book in 2030, and there's also movies coming out in 2030 that have, like, who knows what CGI technology is going to be like then, are those movies going to feel like, those are the old...
Yeah.
I really like that point.
Yeah, like if I'm gonna watch the like Beauty and the Beast, am I gonna watch the 2017 one, or am I gonna watch?
It kind of like removes the timelessness, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I
of the
mean.
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
But also, like, who's gonna watch the live action one over the animated one? Like,
But that's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
what they want, though. I think that's the intention of these movies, is to be like, hey, we made these movies like literally 100 years ago. Like Snow White was what, in the 40s or
Yeah.
the 30s?
I think it might have been in the 30s.
30s.
Yeah, it's like their first animated movie. So I feel like that those had like a timeless quality to them that I would watch, like Cinderella, which I think was even like an old one too, and
50s.
not notice that it was different from Hercules or
Yeah,
something.
for
You know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You just don't see the discrepancy. And maybe looking back
That's
now,
a very
you
good
kind of
point.
do, because you're just like, you have that eye for like, oh, the animation is smoother, the colors. But I just feel like they're taking something that was timeless and putting a timestamp on it
Yeah.
in
I
a
was,
really like hard way.
I was about to argue you because it's, you know, like you said, some of these movies have come out in the 40s, in the 90s, and technology has like expanded so much since then. You know, we have 3D, we have 4K,
Right.
and I was gonna argue and say, oh, but you know, you take those movies from the 90s, you watch them on like the technology we have now, and it does seem dated. But even then, that's not even like 100% true, because Disney is so good at like taking their old footage, remastering it.
Yeah.
They put those in the vault for like 10 years. They come out with an even better like 4K, 5K restoration. And then they look amazing. So it's true. It's they're timeless.
I remember-
and they
Yeah.
stay timeless.
I was so mad when I was being a little grump, I guess, when the live action Beauty and the Beast came out, because I was like, this movie exists. Like, you can watch it right now at home, and it's probably gonna be better. It's like, this movie's gonna make $1 billion for no reason. Like, we already know the story. We know, like, it's just, I don't know. It's
And
just
people thought it
weird
was
to me.
delightful, but I just
But,
don't
like,
think that it's gonna have.
Who's gonna watch it in 10
Yeah,
years?
But I guess also one of the arguments is like these are being made for the new generation of kids coming up, right? So it's like obviously us
and for
nostalgia.
us, and people our age who are like, we grew up with those movies, and it's like, I remember that.
But there's almost no
That's
need
like
for
a
that, because
powerful marketing tool. Is I remember that.
I mean, I grew up in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's like I was watching the Disney movies from the 50s and
That's
60s,
fair.
and it's
Exactly.
like there's no need for like a new generation. I guess
and I
it's
had
just
no
all
idea
money.
which ones were the old ones and which ones were the new ones
Yeah.
until much later on.
That's
where
a
I'm like,
really interesting point. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So just a simple question to wrap that little story up. Are people going to be interested in seeing this?
Yeah, I'm
As
gonna go check
Disney
it out.
is probably going to make a ton of money.
It looks cool.
Cool. I mean,
I'm more interested in seeing this than I was Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, because that looked really not
this
good,
one has
and
a bit more
it didn't have
style.
a good reception.
and you know, for a Tim Burton movie, this is probably the only one I'd want to see in like the last 10 years, because it's not exactly a Tim Burton movie. It's a Disney story.
And
you
Johnny
know?
Depp
So
isn't in it.
there you go.
Thank God.
There you go. Yeah.
what about Helena Bonham Carter?
Oh
No,
my
they're
God.
divorced.
She
Oh,
they got
that's-
divorced?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
So no,
She's not going to be in
end
any
of an
more his
era.
movies.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's
about
move.
that
We'll move on to the next one. It's also kind of a throwback, nostalgia story. Arachnophobia. Do you guys remember that movie?
Never
That's
seen it.
like one of my favorite movies.
Jeff Daniels. We got also
John Goodman?
John Goodman.
My favorite,
That
yeah.
iconic scene of him stepping on the spider and the goo just trailing from the bottom of his foot. Awesome. I remember watching this as a kid. It was terrifying, but I also really enjoyed watching it. And I guess Amblin, Steven Spielberg, and James Wan felt the same way, because they're going to be remaking it, guys. A remake of Arachnophobia for the modern audience. What do we think of this news?
Do you think it's going to take place in the 80s?
Maybe.
Probably. I have a lot to
Maybe.
say about this. First of all, Arachnophobia is a movie that I come back to like once a year. Like, I really, really love this
That
movie.
often?
It's very
Cool.
much like a cult classic, and
Yes.
it's very campy, and I think that's why I love it so much. It's
Yeah.
just sort of like the kind of movie that like tried to be a horror movie, became a comedy, and just like took it in stride.
Yeah.
Which is what I really like about it. And, you know, obviously the performances are really fun and cool, and
Yeah.
you know, they didn't have as much CGI as we do now, obviously, so it was very much like weird little spiders, you know, like
Yeah.
it was just so cool. It was such
Yeah.
a fun movie. I have no idea why they're remaking it. It didn't have a good reception when it first came out.
Yeah, this is true.
in the 90s or whenever it came out, because it was just you know, nobody really cared
Yeah.
about it. Why would they remake it? And I'm also very concerned because James Wan is a horror director.
A serious horror director.
A serious
Yeah.
horror director. You know, he does all those really famous horror movies. It doesn't work as a horror movie. Nobody's afraid of spiders in a horror way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Some people are, but I see what you're saying. Like, if you're gonna make a scary spider movie,
yeah,
take another name, because that's not the tone of Arachnophobia
exactly.
at
Yeah,
all.
it's very much like a funny dark comedy. You know,
I hope they keep the practical effects.
they
I
won't.
like
would
that.
hope. Well,
They won't.
Probably not.
But isn't that like a huge draw of the original? Is that
Yes.
like
yeah.
There was a great tweet because right now James Wan is taking a producer role, and they don't have a director, actors, or a writer. And sorry if you're out there, person who tweeted this, because I couldn't find it when I tried to find it again. But basically, they said, "So what? They just have 8,000 spiders?" That's which is like really fun. But no, they don't have 8,000 spiders. It's all going to be on the.
You know who they should get to
CGI.
direct this is the guy who did Krampus, because he does a lot of really interesting practical effects
Oh,
stuff.
interesting.
Michael
Krampus,
Dougherty or
Trick
something
or
like
Treat.
that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot of really interesting practical effects stuff, and I think he's doing Godzilla. I think he's doing the new Godzilla, which hopefully that's practical effects, which I doubt it will be, but I think that's a good.
Yeah. It's interesting, like Phoebe mentioned, like what kind of tone they're gonna go for, because like you said, James Wan is a serious, scary horror director, but Amblin is also known for putting out these like super fun, friendly kind of family movies. You know, good time for the whole gang.
I think
so. It's
get the gang together.
I almost think there should be like the kind of like family horror tone to this, like kind of like Goosebumpsy. You know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? There's not enough of those. There's not enough of those, I don't think.
Okay, that's interesting.
Where it's like parents can take their kids like to their first horror movie, you know?
Yeah. And if James Wan's not directing it too, then it kind of opens it up a bit more.
I think it could be. I don't think necessarily it's going to be like marketed as like this horror movie, because the reason that I say like people aren't afraid of spiders in the horror way that maybe they used to be, because nowadays we have like these movies with like, you know, these demon nuns. Like it just doesn't stand up to the horror that we have now, you know? So it just feels like it should be a comedy, because it's like the whole concept of it is just funny. You know,
that's
it's just
fair.
A funny movie.
And a lot of the spider horror movies to come out recently have been like the comedy, campy stuff. You know, like Eight-Legged Freaks. What is it? Big ass spider, or big ass giant spider, or something.
I
was gonna be like spider horror movies. How many of those?
Yeah, not many, but when they do come out, they're kind of like the funny campy.
I remember Eight-Legged Freaks came out around the same time as Spider-Man in 2002.
There was a huge spider craze.
There were people were just saying like, "Oh, did you see that spider movie? Which one?"
Spiderwick Chronicles. You know,
that's funny.
Along came a spider. Sorry.
No problems. No problems at all. So the other story to not make the cut, if you will, the MTV Movie and TV Awards. It's called MTV Movie and TV now.
I'm excited to hear these nominations.
Yeah. Basically, my question for you guys. Well, it airs this Sunday. When was the last time any of you guys watched an MTV Movie Awards?
I don't think I ever have.
Ever, really?
I think the last one I watched in full was like that one where when Sacha Baron Cohen was promoting Bruno. I don't know if you remember that, where he's like
he sat on Eminem's head?
Yeah, he sat on Eminem. That's the last time I remember watching. I don't know if even was that the movie awards. Why was Eminem
maybe I don't know. It might have been the music ones. But
I
think the point is a long time or never. I remember I used to watch it like religiously back when Much Music was super popular and, you know, like very relevant in Canada. I am older than you guys. You know this. Let's not divulge my age on
He's 80.
air. Phoebe, 80.
You look great for 72.
Good skin.
So I mean, it's interesting. It's fun. I don't think anyone takes these very seriously.
Do you have any of the nominations?
I do, yeah. A lot of people kind of prefer this to like the Oscars just because it's like actually their tagline is like, celebrating the movies you've actually seen and stuff. So it's like
50 Shades of Grey and like
basically. So I have some of the nominations here and some of the categories. Best movie. So they do have best movie. Phoebe's not gonna like this. There's Infinity War, Black Panther, Wonder Woman.
Why are you like making me seem like I
and Girls Trip?
All those movies are good.
But it's because you are tired of the whole superhero thing.
No, but I mean,
I'm just saying 5 out of the whatever.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is an amazing film. Black Panther is an amazing film. I still haven't seen Infinity War.
I'm
I think there's more just a commentary on
in between though.
Sorry,
I think like to applaud the movies you've actually seen, and then like the Oscar movies, there's like a big in between, and I think like there are better movies than those.
This is basically to get as many 15, 16, and 17-year-olds to watch the show as possible, preteens.
By all means, I mean, why
and there's nothing wrong with that, of course. Yeah, I mean, these
are
all
three superhero movies, and one
and Girls Trip.
And Girls Trip,
And you know, it's not all just blockbusters too. In best performance, this is pretty cool. They don't have best actor or best actress. They just blend them all in one category. Really cool, They're just like, why separate the sexes? Just a performance is a performance, so let's rate them as they are. So best performance, we have Chadwick Boseman, Timothée Chalamet.
In Call Me by Your Name?
Yes. Ansel Elgort in Baby Driver, Daisy Ridley, Star Wars, but also Saoirse Ronan in Lady Bird. And I was like,
why is that?
Look at these guys.
Timothée Chalamet is the most exciting.
I know, but those two indie movies, I was like, see, they still
okay.
They've put in some cred. Yeah.
Now I have a problem.
Oh boy.
How is it?
Are they losing their vision? Is what you're
just
thinking?
Quickly? I don't understand how you can be like, here are the movies that you watched. The best movies are a bunch of superhero movies, and then it's like Timothée Chalamet and Call Me by Your Name. It's like, Oh, you saw that? Then why isn't that nominated?
Yeah,
for...
seriously.
It's
so
probably
true,
because the
yeah.
kids are just like, oh yeah, the peach scene,
Yeah.
the peach scene.
I don't know,
God.
man.
Or it's
Like
like
if you
me.
saw Lady Bird and Call Me by Your Name,
Yeah.
and they're eligible for
Yeah.
acting
Why are
awards,
they
why
not?
aren't they in the?
Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
That's
Anyways.
also because I think that age demographic just loves Saoirse Ronan.
Maybe.
Yeah, and then Timothée
Tim
Chalamet
Chalamet's
has
like,
become somewhat of a meme,
Yeah.
I guess.
and
It's
like
not
a
even
heartthrob,
it's not
like
even
a
the movie.
super
It's just like
beautiful
the person,
man.
I guess. Like it's like let's just give Tim an award.
Yeah.
Timmy.
Yeah, so those were interesting. I don't have the nominees for this, but for these categories, but I wrote them down because I thought they were pretty interesting. I mean, if you follow the MTV Movie Awards, then you know that these categories have existed for a long time, but they have some fun ones like Best Villain, Best Kiss, Most Frightened Performance, so they have some off-the-board ones.
Best frightened performance. What's that?
I guess like in a horror
Who's the
movie,
most
when
scared?
they're just like, oh, this dude.
Phoebe won it.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Phoebe?
Phoebe's nominated.
I don't think you're nominated here, but you're nominated.
Next
Not this
year.
year, next year though.
So we're all on the same page that
not gonna
Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst are going to win the Best Kiss again this year.
Again this year, yeah.
That
Every
is-
year.
My favorite Best Kiss or you know what? Now that I think about it, my favorite MTV Movie Award moment was Ryan Gosling
That was pretty
and Rachel McAdams when they won for Best Kiss in The Notebook, and then they're on
the run.
stage, and then she just runs up to him and he lifts her up.
Yeah.
I thought that she
Iconic.
denied him. When was that?
This
When
was like 2004.
No, but I mean,
This
like,
is-
didn't he try to kiss her one time and then she was like,
No, that was Robert Pattinson and wasn't it Robert Pattinson
No.
and
I do
don't
not know.
I would
I'll
Google
take
it
your
on
word.
on my Google device, but I don't know what to look up.
Exactly.
Who
You wouldn't know.
rejected whose kiss on the movie awards?
I'm glad we have a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really paid off this
Yeah.
time.
It's been a long time since I've watched it, but on Sunday I might just have it on in the background, see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll just quickly go through the new releases. The Incredibles 2 is coming out. Disney probably gonna make a ton of money. Everyone's been looking
I'm
forward
gonna
to
see
this.
it. Yeah.
It's been what, 10 years since the first one?
Yeah,
I
so that's cool.
I forgot how much I loved the first one.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Emily
And-
in her office was talking about it and she said it was really
Of
good.
course,
and
she
I
is.
was like,
Huge
maybe
Disney
I need to
fan.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other one, Tag,
Yeah.
hasn't been promoted a lot, but the trailer looks really fun.
I like everyone in that movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
the great cast. I'm kind of
cast.
interested in it.
yeah.
Yeah, same.
So if you guys want to see a movie, those two are out. Hereditary's out. Our two homies
Go see
saw it. They
Hereditary.
highly suggest it.
Ocean's
And
8 is also out.
Ocean's 8
is also
There you
out.
go. Yeah.
Great
There
film.
you go. So those are not all your options, but those are some of your options, guys. And that basically wraps up the show for this week. So guys, thank you so much for listening as always, and be sure to check out the extended cut every Friday. Correct, guys?
Yes.
It's every Friday?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
so
Friday
make sure
today.
to subscribe to Mojo Talks for more. You can also find us in podcast form on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. So thank you very much for listening. For myself and my beautiful cast and crew, thank you. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to our Mojo Talks YouTube channel for the video version of the CineFiles Extended Cut.